about is how much can you afford to lose? In our survey, most angels are investing between 10 and 15% of the money they've got available outside their principal private residence and pensions and so on in this asset class. So first thing is you don't bet the farm on your angel deals. Not because you're going to necessarily lose your money, you're investing in an asset class where it's not easy to dispose of your investment quickly if you need to get your money back. For personal reasons, circumstances may have changed. You probably have to sell the shares to an existing shareholder. What this is about is creating a valuable business and selling the whole business to a third party. So the benefit of the angel networks, well, of course, the most important thing is, as I said earlier, we've got 6,000 in our angel networks, investors that we can talk to through the angel network members. There are 12,000 out there. Some of the people in the room may be part of that 12,000. But you've got these people on one side, the 12,000 or 18,000 angels, and all these entrepreneurs on the other. They don't know how to get in touch with each other. The angels individually are not registered on any database. Nobody knows where they are. They're secret. They're like a submarine under the water, cruising around. Nobody knows where there's an angel. The angel networks provide a facilitation service on one side with the business angels who can come into the angel networks and become members. And on the other side, that means it's a honeypot for the entrepreneurs to be attracted to the angel networks to meet those investors.
Pat Garrity asked me and Richard to talk to you today, as I say, about biofuels. Richard's run off to the Atlantic and left me to do his bit. But however, before he did go, we persuaded him to prepare a brief video, which I think is probably going to rub it in, actually. But I think the guys are going to try and play that for you first to give you his perspective, and then I'll try and fill in the gaps.
First of all, my name is Richard Evans, an investor in Biofuels International. I'd like to express my apology to David Clark and Pat of Central England Business Angels.
Ceba, who I promised to be here today and give this video presentation on investing, and as a virgin investor indeed. Unfortunately, I'll be sailing the Atlantic, and I had to seize the opportunity of a lifetime when it rose, and I'm sure those of you in business who ride the wave of business would understand that, and maybe like me seize that first opportunity in 32 years to go and do it. I'd like to do a reflection now on being an angel and being a virgin investor indeed, and why I came into to follow this. And originally introduced, as I'd said, from David Clark of Ceba, and combining the skills and knowledge base that he identified and could see there was a perfect fit. And then for me, seizing that opportunity. From a personal development point of view, I think it's really important from a professional development also to maybe crawl out of one's own business and come into other people's. And the working in a team environment rather than just the insularity of being a sole MD and owner of a business, very different to an operating environment. The other things, of course, are having control and some influence in the investment, which you don't get if you're into a bank or into a building society, and the rewards that can come from an exit inside this sort of organisation are obviously significant, only by hard work and over a period of time, and we're into that cycle at this point. An additional key point to why becoming an angel, I suppose, is that it is a journey and it's a process, and that once you go down this process through people like Ceba and David and Pat, you get other opportunities, and you're not a virgin forever. You know, you suddenly have a portfolio, and that would be my intention as well, to pursue that particular line. This business of biofuel, which is very much the centre of our attention at this moment in time, has changed dramatically in 6 months, and now with the skills that Sharon and Peter have already in the business, and the inventiveness particularly that Peter has, the skills that Paul and I have brought, I think, in the finance arena, production engineering skills and small business management, we've got an incredibly powerful team that's now well capitalised, and has got a manufacturing operation now which has changed out of all proportion in the last 6 months. So we have a product in place, we're getting into the big markets now, and we're getting a business which has got some life, and from one that was very precarious, now is becoming quite stable, and we look forward to a significant future. I would say that it's been a very significant, steep learning curve in many new attributes in business. When it comes to investing, it takes you into completely new areas which in your normal startup from a business, which I've done 4 times, they're different. And one of those probably is due diligence. And whilst you can cover all the legals and you can cover all the professional areas here, there is just nothing to take away the knowledge that you have from your own experience. And you can look at what's going on, you can listen to the people, and I would say key are the people. The product's obviously vital, but an intuitive process. It isn't just a mechanical process, and by following legal documents and legal advice and accountancy advice. So it's very much a combination of all those skills. And it's very interesting that this business has changed dramatically since the last 6 months, when we've now, from a very undercapitalized position, now have capital within the business. We have professional management working with a very capable team of Sharon and Peter. And together, we've seen investment in new machinery, processes, people, market, and a cost base, which can make, for this business in the long term, a very successful operation. Probably the most key area of an investment is the relationship with the people. And it's a very interesting journey, and reflecting it from both points of view, as an investor's point of view and somebody who's having to actually accept investors coming into the business. And if you look at it from their perspective, it's their baby, and they're having to, instead of being the autonomous business owner, they're having to accept. I have a great respect for Sharon and Peter and how they've actually accepted this and welded the team together. It's worked extremely well for us, but I think from an investor's point of view, I'd always say that is one of the primary things to consider.
I touched on previously, if you can get an investor group around you that have the appetite to follow their money. I mean, we're fortunate with biofuels that Sharon and Peter have secured a fairly wealthy overseas investor, Richard's invested, I've invested, and we're probably looking at a second round of investment in the new year as we gear up production, as the demand for the product increases. If you can get investors that bring a breadth of experience over and above money, that's what I always look for.
Banks not lending in the way that they did. And you also said about the equity, the business angels sort of starting from £50,000. You mentioned friends and family sort of money as being the sort of gap, you know, that very early stage, but that has also become less available because older family members, etc., don't have the money to invest at the moment because they've lost it all in various ways. What would you say, how can that gap be filled in the current financial situation where, you know, start-up businesses, small businesses are looking for that initial bit of funding to just get started, where we traditionally would have gone for a bank loan, but from my personal experience, having spoken to a couple of banks, the world has changed somewhat in the way they want to talk to you.
Yeah, I think that there are some small loan funds around, and there's, as I said, there's one in every sector. And just by the way, which could not be mentioned today, as individuals, you can invest in these CDFIs, as they're called, with tax relief. There is a, I think I'm right in saying it's 20% spread over 4 years? 5 years. So it's a way in to the loan fund for angels. And Steve Walker here is from ART, which is Aston Reinvestment Trust, which is one of the leading ones, and that they will take your money.
Are there difficulties that arise when a company has a large number of angel investors? I mean, I'm talking of sort of 15, 20, or more than that. And are there any ways of overcoming those difficulties?
You're right, there are. I mean, the more investors you have, the more difficult the structure becomes, because if you have a shareholders agreements have to be amended from time to time, and you need all the shareholders to agree to alter it, so then you're forced to rely exclusively on the articles to set out the rights of shareholders. But you live with it, I think. I mean, some of the companies I'm invested in have over 30 shareholders. The fact of life is that if you have as many as that, probably at least 2/3 are likely to be very passive. But you do need to consider restructuring to get rid of the shareholders' agreement and to have all the rights and obligations of the parties set out in the articles, because it's just not practical to run a company with a shareholders' agreement with such a large